Welcome to another Loan with Jen video podcast. Whether you're listening in or watching us on YouTube, thank you for joining in. Jennifer Hernandez, your host, lender for 27 years. And I want to bring you real facts, no BS about everything mortgage and home ownership. So that is our topic today. We are talking about what home inspections look for. And I have brought the most knowledgeable guy that I know, Gordon Fox. Gordon.
Booyah!
Gordon is amazing. He's in my local market. And I think when I started in 1995, you and I were trolling the real estate halls together. I would run into you and say hi. Gordon has, on my personal houses, Gordon's done, 4 or 5 inspections for me personally. But what we're here to do is to talk about what home inspectors are for, because people listen to us all over the country. So, we're talking about anything. So Gordon, I'd like to know home inspections. What are some of the basic things that they are supposed to look for? Can you tell us first what a home inspection is, and then what it's supposed to look for?
Sure. So a home inspection is basically a snapshot in time. Here are the readily observable conditions of the property. It's not a guarantee or warranty that things are going to be working future. It's not a warranty type of thing, but just a snapshot in time. Here's what we found. Here's what we observed, visibly observed when inspecting a home, when looking at a home.
Okay, great. And what does it include?
Sure. So basically it includes the structural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems of the house. On the structural inspection, we physically try to get up on the roof, check the entire roofing system, check all penetrations through the roof. We're the ones that crawl through the attic, checking for any evidence of water penetration, proper framing, load-bearing walls down to and including the foundation system. Parts of Houston and other areas where you have older pier and beam houses, we access below the house to see if that unlevelness upstairs is typical for an older property or if it's something structurally need repair. If we can't get on the second, third, or fourth floor roof, then we'll fly a drone and take pictures and we can do that when we're in unless we're in a non-fly zone. We have a medical center near here, which takes out a swath where our drones won't go airborne because of they're in a flight path.
So a inspection is really meant to red flag problem areas for a homeowner.
Yes. So structurally, you're checking top to bottom. On the electrical, we're going from the service panel to all your outlets, switches, light fixtures, ceiling fans, etc. The house. Occupied homes, inspectors aren't moving the china cabinet to check the one outlet behind it.
So they're not moving furniture and big things, just what's visible, right?
Right. Readily accessible. And there's a definition for what readily accessible is. If you've got someone who's selling a house, and they want to declutter their house, so they put everything in boxes and then shove the garage full of boxes, and you can't get to the electrical service panel. They're not moving all the boxes to get to the panel, that type of thing.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, that's a big one. So what you mentioned, the structural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, just those 4, which is the most important in your experience?
I like to start with the roof, in that I want it to be, leak free, because that can create problems such as mold, water penetration, wood rot, that type of stuff.
So that's structural, right?
Structural.
So in the electrical area, yeah, let's go area by area then. So in the structural area, it's the roof. How about the electrical area?
If you want a brand new electrical system, buy a brand new house. We're required to inspect the property as if it was built today, but a 50-year-old house is going to have some antiquated Romex, some antiquated wiring. We'll report and we'll tell you about that. It doesn't have all the safety features of arc faults, interrupters, or GFCIs, that type of stuff. But we're looking for a safe electrical system on that.
Okay. Now, if I almost bought an investment property once. Let's talk about electrical for just a second before we go into mechanical and plumbing. So it was an older house and the electrical panel was like completely outdated. I mean, there were red flags all over that thing. I was like, oh my gosh. you basically, I mean, especially if you're going to rent it out, like you have, I mean, I would have had to replace that, right? Like, it's like dangerous for me to not do that.
Oh, I like to think of it as a car. When when you bought your first vehicle, maybe the tires didn't have as much tread as you would want when you're sending your daughter off to college. You will compromise. So for some people, they'll ride on bald tires. Others
For a while.
for a while, and others know I want only the safest. And so that's a personal preference. In the state
Okay.
of Texas, all the things that we find, Trek form, OPI, none of the things that we find are required to be repaired unless they're a lender required repair.
So the inspection report is pointing out according to up-to-date building code. So you have access to all those things. You're pointing all those things out, and then it's up to the homeowner if they want to fix it, replace it, like you said, unless it's something that a lender does. Now, I do want to mention to those watching or reading that lenders do not require the inspection report. We do not want to see it. It's like an out of sight, out of mind thing. It's for your knowledge and protection, for you to just know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
We only ask for certain things if our visual appraisal inspection, who just visually, they're just appraising it for value purposes. Then if they see something that looks problematic, we'll ask for a professional inspector to, address that. So I want to just interject here. An appraisal is not an inspection like what Gordon is talking about. So what we're talking about today, again, if you're just joining us, is what is a home inspection, which is not required by the lender, but we suggest that you get it. And it's done in the beginning of the process to make sure you're not buying a total lemon, right? Like, to know what you're up against, what kind of deferred maintenance is there? What am I going to have to do in the future? And the home appraisal that the lenders that I do is making sure that the value is what you're paying for it. Or you can decide to pay overvalue. I mean, it's your choice, right? So those are two completely different things. So, some people pay cash, so they don't care about the loan. But I just wanted to, those of you that might have a question, what is an appraisal versus an inspection? And that it just gave me an idea for a new video. So I'm going to write that down. So Gordon, let's talk about so we talked about structural, electrical,
And mechanical.
Yeah, and mechanical, what's the most important?
That's basically, you're looking at the central air and heat and any built-in appliances that go with the house. Dishwashers, garage door openers, garbage disposals, that type of stuff.
Okay.
Certain things are considered personal property, such as washer and dryer, refrigerators. If those stay, just have to let us know that they stay so we can check those and run them through their paces on that kind of thing. The biggest thing is HVAC, especially if you're in a hot area of the country. You want to make sure that it works. And again, it's not a warranty. It's not a homeowner warranty that many people will buy in case something goes wrong in the first year of ownership. But basically, we're looking to see, is it operating properly at the time of the inspection, and doing temperature drops across the coils. And then if you want a more in-depth, we have a service where we have a licensed HVAC contractor come out and do a very diagnostic examination of the HVAC system.
So HVAC is the heating and cooling, right? That's
Yes.
what HVAC means. Okay. And so you're just, again, doing it to diagnose, on a global scale, if things are problematic. Hey, it's 20 years old and it's not cooling, or the coils are not cooling, et cetera, et cetera. That's mechanical. And then water heaters too, right? Those are important. I mean, of all the mechanical, I would guess that the AC heater and the
water heater, we put that under the water heater. We'll put that under plumbing. So on the plumbing system, we're checking operation, all your sinks, faucets, commodes, bathtub showers, water heaters, that type of stuff. And water heaters, especially in our locale, majority of them are located in the attic. And after about 10 years of age, many professional plumbing companies will not repair a water heater. If the pilot light goes out or a TNP, something goes cattywampus on it, they're not fixing a 10-year-old because insurance adjusters, actuators, or whatever they call them, they find that the frequency of failure, catastrophic failure resulting in water damage to a house, insurance claims goes up. I don't want to say exponentially, but very greatly after 10 years of age.
You know, you're giving me an idea. I need to check the age of my water heaters. No,
Sorry, I didn't mean to
seriously.
put the scare in you.
Yeah, you did. Actually, I think I'm going to have you come and just do an inspection just to, because I mean, when you live there a while, I mean, I'm in a 20-year-old house now. We've lived there 8 years, and you can do that, right? Like, I mean, people who've lived there a while, like, I want to make sure that I'm not having like a fire hazard and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can get a home inspection anytime, like a diagnostic.
We can come in, people will do it like every 5 years, just take a look at it, and we'll go up in the attic. Like, how many homeowners go up in the attic? They'll store the seasonal stuff in there, Christmas stuff. But what we're looking for is any evidence of water penetration. We're looking at the water heater, looking for signs of early failure, that type of thing, looking for evidence of your HVAC, your cooling systems leaking into the emergency drain van, looking for rodent activity, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so if
That's a
you've been
good
in your
idea.
house, if you've been in your house for a while and you're not really sure what you're looking for, then you just call a home inspector up and we can take a look.
That's a good idea. We did have you do one years ago and actually fixed a few things with that. We fixed that door with the penetration. We did that whole thing. But that's a good idea for those of you listening. I mean, definitely you should get a home inspection when you're buying the house. But what Gordon was saying is every 5 to 6 years, it's really a good idea to make sure that things are working okay, especially really from just a hazard standpoint. One of my biggest fears is that the house is going to catch on fire. Like, something's going to spark and be dangerous. And, I mean, it's a concern, but, all right. Well, great. Well, we have gone over, the 4 major things that an inspection goes over. The last thing I want to ask you is, so if the meat of the inspection goes over those 4 things, what kind of add-ons can people get, and should they get them? Like, what should people be concerned about mold? Should they do a foundation inspection? Like, when should they, when shouldn't they?
So on the foundation inspection, we're checking the foundation in the standard home inspection with a zip level. We're basically doing measurements of the slab, and concrete is placed, not poured. It was never level at the beginning. It was relatively level. We have certain standards for that. But what we're doing is we're documenting this is the elevation of the foundation at the time we were there. And in times of drought, it changes. When it's a wet season, it moves around. So we're looking for evidence of, structural failure. And so we'll find a lot of houses. Yes, it's moved. We come back in a year or 2 or 3 or 5. Yes, it's moved from that point, but not enough to make a correction. There's nothing to fix. Nothing's broken on that.
So the structural, the structural part of your normal inspection does include foundation. So then the add-ons would be like air quality, mold. Yes. That's the mold, right? The air quality.
Yep. Air quality. So if you or your family members are severely allergenic, or if the house flooded with Harvey, I think, or whatever it was, Ike, it was like 10% of the housing stock flooded.
Yeah.
So if it's had some water events and you're concerned about mold, we can do air quality on that. Okay. We also do sewer line inspections, forensic inspections. A lot of times we'll do forensic inspections for custom home builders that have an issue of something going on. For instance, you see a stain in the ceiling. If you're a roofer, it's obviously a roof leak. If you're a plumber, it's obviously a plumbing leak. So home inspectors are more general categories. And so we're more in tune with asking questions and looking deeper than a very narrow profession group. And so we're looking for the right answers on that. We'll also do elevator inspections, well and septic. The list goes on and on. We pride ourselves on being a one-stop shop.
So basically, depending on the house that you're buying, you want to ask an inspector the types of inspections that are available, because, people might not be living in Houston that are listening to this. So, in Texas, you got to definitely get a termite inspection. We do our annual renewal with you guys on termite. Okay, very good.
Oh,
So
stucco inspection.
stucco, yeah.
Stucco. So we live in an area where 60 inches of annual rainfall. Many times we have issues of water penetration and resulting damage. And for instance, we've recently got a client now buying a house, got a home inspection. Okay. Once it passed that and they spent the money, then they got their information back by 9 a.m. the next morning. They made a decision. Okay, now I'm concerned about the mold. And once the air quality comes back from the lab, it takes about 72 hours. Then if that's all good, then she'll schedule the stucco inspection because it's a stucco house. They have problems. So what she was doing was a controlled, okay, if I pass this test, great, I'll do this test, the mold. And then if all that looks good, instead of spending multiple thousands of dollars on one day and deciding I didn't want the house, she's doing a more systematic approach.
So stucco, that's right. I'd left that out. And yeah, there's stucco all over the country. Well, very good. Well, we went over what is a home inspection, what's included in a home inspection. This was really insightful. Gave me a couple things that I even wrote down to remind myself. And we'll put Gordon's info if you're in the local market of Houston. I definitely recommend them. We'll put your information in the notes on the description. And Loan with Jen, over and out. Thank you for listening, watching. We'll see you next time.
Booyah.